Where do we start? I can go back. I've been injured over 40 years, spinal cord injury. And I've seen a lot of change in the world. Attitudes, technology, just a whole lot of change. And probably where this is going back to is people maybe aren't as, say, savvy or educated on people who have spinal cord injury. And I think the most important thing about injury and about...
Alright, that's Leroy doing his presentation bit there. Alright, so basically what you do is you try to bring disabled people into the spotlight.
Yeah, most definitely.
Okay, now let me ask, what year really did you have the accident?
I can't remember because I try to have a blackout on that. Right now what I have is, well, my body's spazzing out because it's called involuntary movement.
Wow.
So the nerves is going back and forth. So when I talk about Percocet and stuff like that, those are the pills that I use to subdue it. But it makes me drowsy, so sometimes I just
do without it. Okay. So what year did you have the accident?
I could say around mid-90s. I don't try to remember the date or record the date because it was something I've been going to therapy to remember how it happened, and I can't remember, so I just try to block it off.
Block it off. Yeah. Wow. Okay, now let's talk a bit about your foundation, Second Chance in Life.
Yeah.
All right. So what really is the objective?
The objective is for the Nigerian government to have awareness with people with disability. It's not like because you give me 1,000 naira or 500 naira, that means you're blessed. You know, if you could show me how to make 2 into 4, 4 into 16, 16 to 32, 32 into 64, then you know what? I'm self-efficient. Because it would be so funny that you or Jude give me 1,000 today, 1,000 tomorrow, and I ask Jude, where's the 1,000? You tell me you don't have it. I'm going to look at you, what you talking about? What you mean you ain't got it? So, make me a part of something, a society, you know, self-efficient, you know, don't worry about it. It's like, you know, so it's like, make me a part of society, be able to do things, you know, don't depend on you that much. Don't make me a number, you know, a liability, you know, depend on you, you know. I just want to breathe like everybody else.
In looking at what you have to contribute, yeah? And knowing that you're carrying a major mandate for quite a number of people. We have quite a number of people with this disability in Nigeria. Excuse me if I use the word, what do you think can be done to make things better in terms of getting medication, in terms of making life easy?
Alright, there's a difference somebody reading a textbook and somebody living the experience. You know, people appoint people because they got bachelor's and master's and PhD. For Christ's sake, they don't know what I go through every day. So get somebody next to them that knows what we go through every day. I talk about spinal cord injury because this is what I know and it's what I live every day. So I could talk about it. I know what medications, I know what they needed to use, I know what sports they could do because I'm in the Western world and I learned it from the Western world so I could bring it back home. You know, like they say, ignorance is a disease. So since I have these knowledge, I'm trying to share it. Not just Nigeria, just Africa alone. Because being disabled, you're just like a number. You're a worthless being. And I want them to get that out of their mind. It's like, I asked somebody one day, you got all this money and you don't understand what I'm going through. But admittedly, your son has the same paralysis. Now you want to change the Constitution rules. Why didn't you change it before it happened to your own son? I didn't know, blah, blah, blah. So it can't be changed now. But if you had the power then, you could have changed it. And that's the cry. It's like, it don't have to happen to your son, your nephew, your niece, your grandson. Do it right now before it happens. Because then when you try to make the cry, it's too late. And that's what I'm just trying to, that's the message, you know.
Alright, so the people you're trying to reach out to, those with spinal cord injuries, what's the response like so far in Nigeria?
It's so funny that I'm supposed to be in the papers a couple of days from now. I went to Mr. Biggs, and I saw this guy. He wanted to get something to eat, And he was just like, so I saw him, so I ran, I got in my chair and just like, wow, I got my camera, and I just took the picture of Mr. Biggs, and the manager was like, why are you taking the picture? I'm like, you're a corporation, you're supposed to have a ramp. She's like, I'm going to call the police. I'm like, call the police. I'm like, you're supposed to have a ramp. And like a lot of restaurants in Nigeria was not having ramps, so I was going up there and taking my pictures. Especially banks, I don't want to mention names, they didn't have ramps. So it's like, if I could be the voice, this would change their mind of thinking like, okay, you cannot be making millions of naira and think we're not a part of society. My 150 naira contributes to your foundation, to your organization. So if I have 1 million people like me paying 100 naira, multiply that. That's a lot of money.
And you know what you're saying is true. You go into some major buildings and really there is no provision for handicapped people. They should actually have a ramp.
And that's what I'm trying to do. Like, you know, so I could supply them with the ramps, build ramps, bring expertise from overseas. So it's like, it's not just about me. It's about us. When I talk about people in a wheelchair, people with spinal cord. It's like a us thing. It's not just about my lifestyle. Because when I see other people going through problems, I just take my camera, snap. And we're like, oh, you're going too far. But I'm not going too far, because if I don't speak, nobody else will speak. And
you were actually saying something some time back about houses not having certain kinds of exits that will help people like you.
Yes.
What were you talking about then?
Okay, I see a lot of houses, it's not wheelchair accessible, you know, not wide enough. And I went to Lekki one day and I said to myself, wow, this is kind of crazy. What happened in Japan happens in Lekki right now? Where's the emergency exit? I'm trapped. So these are things in awareness, like I'm just trying to tell the world and Africa, like, you know, we need to start thinking about safety. You know, it's good having money, but if you don't have safety, money's gone, life is gone, soul is gone, nothing exists. Like they say, prevention is better than cure.
All right, Lee, in the midst of all of this, you still have time to do your music.
Almost definitely.
So tell us a bit about your music.
My music, because of my background and I grew up, some guy told me like, oh, your music is Ajebota music. Because my Yoruba is not Ijile like they said it is. So I just use my Western world and my Nigerian influence and just put it into my music. My first single was called Bami, Baby. And my second single is called You Think My Life Is Easy, which is for the foundation and stuff and the awareness. So I just try to do, now I'm trying to see if I could get into Nigerian movies now. So, you know, I just want to be the first to do things. And so I could just have people like, oh, if he could do it, I could do it better. Like, you cannot be on top forever. So once I open that door, a lot of people start crawling in. And that's like the message, like, you know, I'm like the messenger.
All right, now for people who have watched you today and maybe have one form of disability or the other, because I bet you not only with spinal cord, people with spinal cord injuries will call you after this. Now, how can they hook up with you using the social network?
They could meet me on Facebook. They could go to Mr. Flint Music.
Mr. Flint.
On music, or they could go to Second Chance in Life Foundation at gmail.com, or Mr. Flint Music at gmail.com, or Mr. Flint Music on YouTube. So there's also a way of Mr. Flint Music on Twitter. So they could, like, you know, or Google me.
That's the easiest way.
Now, before you get to find your way out, let's look at the future. What are you bringing to Nigeria, even as you go back to the States and you keep doing your stuff?
I'm trying to bring about 13, 14 episodes of people with disability, how we live, medications. I'm just trying to bring doctors, like interview them, like, you know, to keep the awareness, like, you know, what people like, you know, there's a lot of things that I don't know if Nigeria's ready to accept but I could bring it in, but the youth would accept it, but the adults, it's like for some reason they don't want to accept it. Maybe they're scared or they're shy, or I just don't know. There's a lot of things that I'm trying to bring. Like somebody asked me one day, like, "Oh, you still have SEX?" And I'm like, "What a dumb question." You know, I live in the Western world. For Christ's sake, trust me, Google it, and you find out. But like stuff like that, you know, devices that people in a wheelchair could use to do the same thing that an able-bodied could do. You know, there's a lot of things, but since everybody's in a box and they don't want to get out that box, they don't understand. So that's like one of the things I'm trying to do. Get their mind out that box and go around that box and see there's more into life than just inside that box.
Yeah, because most times when they see someone in this state, they think the person should be a beggar.
Yeah.
Or should do something that is very demeaning.
Yeah. And I think, you know, with my voice, and if I could get the youth rally, and maybe I just have to do a big rally to go to like the government office, maybe that might let them hear our cry. Because you just need one person and another person and another person.
True.
And that's how it starts.
Exactly. Wow, Leroy, it's been so nice meeting you
Thank
and
you
hearing
very
from
much.
you today. Really, what you're doing is quite laudable.
Thanks a lot.
And I pray the good Lord to give you the strength you need to
Almost
keep
definitely.
going. Okay. All right, that's Leroy Bami Dele Fagbemi.
Mr.Flint, aka Nigerian Diddy.
I tell you, there's loads of ability in disability. For someone with spinal cord injury, he's on a wheelchair and he's so lively. I mean, wow, I'm challenged. Thank you again, Leroy.
All right, thanks a lot.
Thank you
Thanks
so
for
much.
having me.
All right, you could Google him. Google Mr. Flint.
Google Mr. Flint and you find a lot of things about me.
Yeah.
Positive.
And to all those who are disabled in one way or the other, it just goes to say that you can always have a second chance at life, and you can still do that which you've always wanted to do.